Everybody, we're at the 2019 Arnold Classic, the 31st anniversary. Mandus buckle alongside co-host Jose Raymond, Nate Spear. What a fantastic day it's been already, a great weekend so far. Believe we're in the middle of seeing some history. It started out with figure, the two-time reigning Miss Olympia actually finally won the Arnold title, Sid Gillen. Jose, I think we're in the middle of seeing
something special.
Something really special.
Yeah. As much as I'd like to say she had a lot of competition, they were great, but she didn't. The minute she came out, she's just stunning from head to toe. Facially, the skin, I mean, she turned to the side. I was telling Nate, she looked like a Clydesdale. The detail in her hamstring, side leg, her back, her shoulders, her waist. There was nothing you could find wrong with her whatsoever. So I do think we're witnessing something special. I'm glad she finally got the elusive Arnold Classic. Right. It's rare you'd get two Olympias and hadn't had an Arnold yet. So congratulations to her. She was amazing. That being said, second place was pretty impressive too.
Nadia Watts, she took third at the Olympia. Came out of nowhere to take third at the Olympia, and now she takes second here.
Well, we can sort of see a pattern being molded by Sydney, actually. So I think Nadia is very similar, not quite as muscular and a little bit shorter, smaller, but very similar. The back is ridiculous. Hamstrings, glutes, tie-ins, very similar. The difference I see with Sydney, where she sort of separates herself, is she's complete head to toe, especially from the side. She turns to the side and she's very thick, dense, is very complete. And like with Nadia and sort of like Jessica, they're not quite as sharp from the side. And then Sydney is just head to toe, polished, like sort of Jose said. But Nadia I think she has potential if she can grow a little bit more, because they're very similar looks. It's almost when like Candace and her were going head to head. She's sort of like hopefully the new chaser, you know what I mean? So it'll be pretty special to see them battle it out at Olympia.
And we're talking about Jessica. Jessica Rhea looked phenomenal. She finished fourth. There were expectations. Talked to her a few days ago, and she said, I'm a little nervous. This is the first time there's pressure. There's expectation. I think she delivered. She finished third here.
Yeah, I think she was unbelievable. I personally love her physique. It's muscular. You can tell she's trained hard for this, and she's just got a beautiful way about her on stage. She's the way she moves, the way everything is. I'm a huge fan of that physique. It's a shame somebody's got to lose,
Right.
Somebody's got to take second. Somebody's got to take third. She was amazing. She's climbing the ladder. She's slowly making a really good name for herself, and she's going to take a title like an Arnold Classic sooner or later. So,
and she wants that. She's a proud person. She's a hard worker. She's proud of her heritage. She said, I want to make history and be the first Puerto Rican to be able to do so. It looks like she's headed that way.
That was me.
Female.
Okay, all right.
This really was a great lineup, though. There's some other people that didn't crack the top three that were fantastic. Brittany Campbell looked great. Natalia Solero finished fourth. This was maybe one of the better Arnold lineups we've seen in years.
For sure. I really liked Bojana. Seems to be cracking at it, too. She's been on the scene for a while, really grinded away last year, showed up really good here, has great structure. I mean, the top three is I saw them sort of separate themselves. Sydney sort of on her own, and then Nadia and Jessica sort of battling it out. And then Bojana and the other girl, Natalia Soltero, they were both really great. That's how sort of shows the competition, how deep it was.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, it was just really close between them two. It was sort of like back and forth. I could have seen Bojana maybe getting the nod 2 and 4th.
Right. It's very interesting with Bojana. This was her 41st show, and she does more traveling than anyone. she's probably been in 41 countries in the last 3 or 4 years with her schedule. So how she's able to do that just is a testament to really her being a pro's pro. And before we move on to the next division, just to let people understand a little bit more about what we're really seeing in Sid Gillen. Not only is she a 2-time Olympia champion and Arnold Classic champion now, she's 26 years old. She just finished her master's. She's an Ivy League educated, ran track in college. She's someone who everything she does, she has to do at the highest level. That's something special.
And her mom's younger than you. Her mom will be competing this year, winning Masters Nationals. So.
Oh, by the way, her mom Ivy League, her dad Skip Ivy League, her brothers and sisters Ivy League.
It ain't fair.
It
ain't fair. Sorry, everyone.
When they set a standard, that I don't know if that can really be touched. Congratulations, Gillen family. You really are doing something special. Fitness. Whitney Jones is the reigning Miss Olympia. Was the front runner coming into this thing. Great routine, lots of energy. She's always comes out. The crowd loves her. Did fantastic here. Finished second. We have a new Arnold Classic champion. Could not be more deserving. This is her last year competing. Rael Graber announced this is going to be her last year competing. She just walked away champion. What must that feel like?
I don't know. I didn't win my last show. But I bet she's happy. She should be pleased. She looked great. She had a great performance, and I'm happy for her.
Absolutely. Well, you run several of your last few shows, so I think it's pretty close there, Jose. You know, Nate, when I was interviewing her, I kind of caught the fitness bug a few years ago. Been an athlete most of my life, that was in yesteryear, but there's an appreciation for someone who can train and bring their physique to bring a certain look, but be able to do what they can in an acrobatic way and with such precision.
Well, for all those competitors too at home, just imagine, you're complaining about eating fish and veggies and doing cardio. Now put a routine together, right, and now go do a handstand. And you know what I mean? That's like the appreciation that needs to be given for them. Unfortunately, there's not enough competitors sort of getting in that. You know why? Because it's hard as hell.
Right, yeah, right.
With the cane.
Because not very few people can do what they do. I wish more people would really jump on this fitness bandwagon, because it really is something to see.
Oh yeah, and it draws such a big fan base. You saw, we're sitting here at the Arnold Classic, and it probably got the most applause, you know what I mean? The fans went crazy for it, and especially the girls got rewarded when they did such an immaculate routine. Some of the girls, some of their props, and the way they put the routine together was just, you could tell they put a time and effort into it from day one. Not just, 3 weeks together, I'll put a posing routine together, right?
Right, no. This is months and months and months they spend on this. Once again, congratulations, Rael Graber, and not a more deserving person there to walk away. Now what a lot of you guys have been waiting for. We had some predictions here on Classic Physique. Top 5 was very similar to what we were thinking. None of us had the gentleman who ended up 5th. Picked in our top 5, but he really brought a special package this weekend.
He certainly did. Khalid Chikawi was ripped to shreds. Other than George, he was the hardest guy in the show. I really liked his look. Certain shots were knockout shots. He was the only guy who legitimately could stand with George from behind, back-wise. But he's a little taller. His legs don't quite have as much of sweep on them. That was the only knock that they could possibly really have. But I was a huge fan. I would have had him as high as 3rd.
Yeah, when he walked out of prejudging this morning, you said right away, hey.
Yeah.
We were not quite looking up at the time, and you nudged us, and thank goodness, because we were in for something.
I'm a condition guy.
Yeah.
And the names were coming out, Courage O'Para that we were hearing, and Keon, and They looked fantastic in their own right, but my brain is is trained to look at conditioning, particularly after you see George, and you're just like, okay, well, that's where we're going to go. And then their condition was a little off. And then you see Khalid. I'm like, well, that kid belongs to be rewarded.
Yeah.
But you know what? Classic physique is still evolving.
Yes.
There's going to be situations where a shredded guy wins and a shaped guy's second and a shredded guy's third. And it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And all these guys were awesome. They definitely deserved to be in the top 5, even if I think the order was a little different.
Well, now from 5th, we'll go to 4th. Keon. I think we were thinking he might have been 2nd or 3rd, and Keon ended up 4th. Great shape. There was a lot of hype with the pictures the last few weeks. What did you think when you saw him and how it ended up?
Well, I got to add with Khalid, you could just tell his density was different too. You could tell he's been training for a while. And with Classic just coming up, a lot of these guys are just turning pro very quick. They have the genetics. They haven't quite put in the time yet. And sort of a guy like that can sort of show you the difference, you know what I mean? With some of the guys like Keon and Courage, you can tell they got to put some more time in, build that density, you know what I mean? So they don't go as flat and as soft as easily, you know what I mean? Where a guy like him, he's been grinding out for a while. You see from the back and the hamstrings, you can see the density and the maturity, you know what I mean? But I mean, Keon, he had a lot of hype coming into this. I wasn't super, he has a great shape, but I was not super impressed, honestly, here. It seemed like he sort of lost his conditioning or sort of faded a little bit. He came out, sort of looked better than Tampa, and then he sort of started to fade, you know what I mean? It sort of came out smooth. Definitely could be the future in the class, though. He has the shape, the legs.
Young guy,
complete, head to toe, you know what I mean? So he's got it all. It's just got to put the pieces together.
This is only his 2nd pro show, guys. He took 4th at the Arnold in the 2nd pro show. Pretty impressive. Courage Rapara ended up 3rd, which was a little bit of a surprise for us from what we saw in prejudging based on the rest of the lineup. But again, that shape, I think with what we saw with 3 and 4, they're sending a message that it is not only bodybuilding with a small waist. There's a little bit of a shape and symmetry and balance, and there's a look that is starting to evolve, because both of those guys had it, and they were a little bit on the softer side.
I think to Courage's credit, he came back a little better tonight, and he had an amazing posing routine.
Yes.
He's got stage presence. He hit all those shots. He put the time in to put a really good choreographed routine together. And if he was lower, that bumped him up, you know. So he deserved to be where he was. He can be better, yes. He can be harder, more conditioned. I really liked his physique, his flow, his everything. But I was mostly impressed with his presentation.
And then there were two. None of us had this guy in the top 5 coming in. Steve Loris. It was Steve and George, and George and Steve, and Steve and George, and it ended up George Peterson as our 2019 Arnold Classic champion. Deservedly so. Think top to bottom, left to right, front to back. He was the most complete athlete on stage.
I think we got to back up. None of us had the Steve we've seen previously in the top 5.
This was a whole new guy.
He got his act together. He teamed up with Neil Hill. They have a good connection. Things are going great for him. This was a different Steve.
Absolutely.
And had we known this, he certainly would have been in the top 5.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what? I'm really happy for him. I'm happy for Justin. I'm happy for Neil. Mostly happy for Steve that he's understanding his body now, and he's understanding what it takes to get to this level. He was doing it by accident. That's how good he is. And now he's 2nd at the Arnold Classic, and he's got 10 pounds to gain for the weight limit. That's a scary thought.
Just going to say, can you imagine him with a little more size, especially in that upper body? It's going to be dangerous.
Well, you see him and he says he weighs 205, and you're just like, how is that even possible? You know what I mean? Tiny waist, big arms, sweeping lats, quads are nuts. And the show really showed that they got it dialed in. His hamstrings were nice and dry and crisp from the back. That's always a good sign. He had a great back. Could have opened up a little bit more on it, work on his posing a little bit. I think he's got to get that confidence, you know what I mean, and sort of step on and say, I own this stage, you know what I mean, because he's going to be a guy battling for the top spot.
There's not a polish there yet.
Yeah, but you got to come out and own it, you know what I mean? You got to say, I want this. George came out there tonight, and he wanted it. You could tell. He had fire in his eyes. He was coming for the win.
George Peterson, you are the 2019 Arnold Classic champion without a doubt. Polished head to toe. George,
it was a 1-point decision, you know
that.
that.
And I can't believe that, because I think we all would say it was a slam door decision there. But George looked bigger, substantially bigger in the upper body as well, which was something I don't think any of us were expecting to see. Justin said it wasn't necessarily that they were that much bigger. They were a lot rounder and fuller. They figured a few things out. That could be scary going into the Olympia.
Well, the problem with George is I'm not sure you can really see a better version.
Yeah.
He struggles with the weight as it is. There's not really much wiggle room at this point.
Yeah.
That said, I don't think he needs to be much better, you know. Go to the Olympia just like this, and he's going to be tough to beat. You know, it is what it is. Congratulations to him. He was unbelievable. He's one of those guys that does the best with what he's got.
Right.
What he's got is awesome, but he doesn't have the greatest structure in the division, and I love to see it. You know, I love to see people who are not 100% the best structure, but yet are kicking ass on people who are.
Work ethic, work ethic, work ethic, work at your craft. George Peterson, Justin Miller, you guys make one hell of a dynamic duo. Congratulations, gentlemen. That wraps up day one of the 2019 Arnold Classic. Stay tuned. We'll be here all day tomorrow. Prejudging starts at noon. Nate Spear, Jose Raymond, Mandus Buckle, Maximum Muscle Report. We're out.